Why highly empathetic people attract the most dangerous personalities. A pattern has emerged, and once you see it, you can't unsee it. In the comments beneath our recent videos, the same voices keep appearing. Quiet voices, thoughtful voices, people who describe themselves as deep feelers, supersensors, orchids in a world that rewards weeds. And strangely, they all seem to tell the same story. Stories of partners who twist reality until memory itself feels unreliable. Friends who store your deepest confessions like ammunition, only to use them the moment conflict appears. Family members who push and push and push until you finally break. And then they point at you and say, "See? You're unstable." So you ask the question that haunts every empathetic mind. Why do they do this? Why don't they care how much it hurts me? We usually reach for familiar labels: toxic, manipulative, difficult. But psychology has a more precise language for this pattern. A colder one, a clinical one. Researchers call it the dark tetrad of personality. And today we're going to look, calmly, clearly, at what is actually happening inside their minds. The first mistake empathetic people make. When you encounter a manipulative person, you instinctively assume something dangerous. You assume they are built like you. You believe that if you explain your pain clearly enough, if you choose the right words, if you stay calm and honest, they will feel it, and then they will stop. But research shows their psychological hardware is fundamentally different. Not damaged, not wounded, different. The dark tetrad. 4 traits. Psychologists identify 4 core traits that form this personality cluster. 1. Narcissism. Narcissism is deceptive because it often looks like confidence. In fact, it correlates strongly with social desirability. These individuals are often charming, charismatic, articulate, magnetic. They light rooms, but this charm is not depth. It is surface tension. Beneath it lies an extremely fragile structure, one that cannot tolerate criticism, indifference, or even neutrality. Stop applauding, question them gently, withdraw admiration, and the mask falls. What replaces it is not sadness, but rage. Cold, explosive, disproportionate. That rage is not strength, it is the sound of a fragile ego shattering. Machiavellianism. If narcissists burn hot, Machiavellians stay cold. These are the strategists. They don't seek attention, they seek advantage. They plan, they wait, they observe. You are not a person to them. You are a position on a board. If lying serves their long-term goal, they lie effortlessly. If betrayal benefits them later, they schedule it patiently. Morality is not rejected, it is simply irrelevant. Psychopathy. Psychopathy is marked by impulsivity, lack of fear, absence of remorse. These individuals lack the neurological braking system that stops most people from harm. Brain scans reveal a hypoactive amygdala, the center responsible for fear and emotional inhibition. They are not brave, they are unafraid. They take risks others wouldn't dare because their nervous system never sends the warning signal. Stimulation becomes their drug. Other people become collateral. Everyday sadism. This is the newest and most disturbing addition. It explains cruelty without purpose, harm without gain. For sadists, your pain is the reward. Neuroimaging shows dopamine release when they witness suffering, especially emotional suffering. They hurt you because it feels good. Born or made? This is the hardest truth for empathetic people to accept. Not all darkness comes from trauma. Some of these traits are biological. Psychopathy, for instance, shows heritability estimates as high as 70%. These individuals didn't learn fearlessness. They were wired that way. Machiavellianism, on the other hand, is often learned, a survival strategy forged in unpredictable or unsafe childhoods. Together, genetics and environment create a personality structure that is extremely resistant to change. Not willing, neurologically resistant. The switch. Empathy dissociation. You've probably asked yourself, how can they hurt me so precisely if they have no empathy? How can they be cruel one moment and perfect the next? Because empathy is not one thing. It splits into two systems. Cognitive empathy, the ability to understand what someone feels. Affective empathy, the ability to feel it with them. Manipulative personalities often have high cognitive empathy. They read you expertly. They map your insecurities. They memorize your wounds. But they lack affective empathy. They know you're in pain. They simply don't feel it. Brain scans show something chilling. Their empathy circuits are off by default. But here's the dangerous part. They can switch them on when needed. During love bombing, they mirror your emotions flawlessly. They reflect your soul back at you. But it is a performance. Once attachment forms, the switch flips off. Your feelings stop being signals for connection and become data for control. They are not seeking a partner. They are seeking a target. Why you were chosen. This was not random. Predators scan for traits: high empathy, high agreeableness, high sensitivity. People who forgive easily, people who assume goodness, people who project their conscience outward. If you struggle to assert needs, if taking up space feels uncomfortable, you are the perfect lock for their key. They test you early, a small boundary violation. If you explain it away, if you apologize for their behavior, you pass the test, and the trap closes. The addiction mechanism. They use a tactic called intermittent reinforcement, the most powerful addiction pattern known to psychology. If they were cruel all the time, you'd leave. So they aren't. They alternate cruelty with charm, withdrawal with reward. Your nervous system becomes hypervigilant, constantly searching for the good version of them. This is not love. It is trauma bonding, a biological addiction to the source of your pain. The dismantling. Gaslighting is not lying. It is perspecticide, the murder of your reality. They deny events you remember clearly, rearrange memory, label your perception as instability. Over time, your brain changes. Chronic emotional abuse shrinks the hippocampus, memory and context, enlarges the amygdala, fear and threat detection. You enter brain fog, anxiety, decision paralysis. You are not weak, you are neurologically compromised. The illusion of power. At some point, a dark thought appears. I wish I could be that cold. Society glamorizes these traits: fearlessness, dominance, social hacking. It looks like power, but there is a hidden cost. They are stuck on the hedonic treadmill, chasing ever higher stimulation just to feel something. They cannot access calm. They cannot access peace. They cannot experience oxytocin-based joy. Trust, safety, quiet happiness. They are chemically blocked from it. They live in a relationship desert. Everyone is a transaction. No one truly knows them. There is a saying in psychology: they know the words, but not the music. What you do now. You cannot fix a hardware problem with software. You are playing for connection, they are playing for control. Understanding this breaks the spell. Stop seeing them through empathy. See them through clarity. Rage becomes narcissistic injury. Lies become strategy. Cruelty becomes dopamine seeking. Their behavior says nothing about your worth. You were targeted because you are high-yield supply. You have the light they lack, and that light belongs to you.